The Dallas Cowboys are back to 500 on the season after a 20-15 win over the New York Giants on Thursday Night Football. Was it pretty the entire time? No. But did the Cowboys get a win? Yes. So, let's talk about it. Tonight, Dallas got a win that they really needed. This team could not afford to fall to 1-3, or I think a lot of us would have felt like the season was over. It feels like they bought themselves a little bit more time with this win to kind of figure things out and not fall too far behind in the NFC East. Tonight's game was riddled with penalties, missed tackles, bad play calling, but most importantly, you got a win, you got back to 500, and you're still in it in the NFC East. I thought the start of this game was good-ish. There were definitely more positives than we've seen over the past few weeks, and I thought that Dak Prescott had a really good game. And that was one of my keys to victory for the Cowboys tonight in my pre-game video. Dak had to play better than Daniel Jones. He had to have a good game. You could not afford a stinker from Dak. And I think he showed up and played extremely well. 22 of 27 passing, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 125.5 passer rating. I thought he was really good early in the game, and at one point, he had like 2 touchdowns to just 2 incompletions. On the other side for the Giants offense, I thought that was the best game we've seen from Daniel Jones against the Cowboys. He might have played better in another game, but he was actually really good tonight. I'm not sure if I should be saying that out loud because it's not a good thing for the Cowboys defense, but he just didn't play well enough. Overall, I thought Dak was more efficient. He had quite a few big time throws into tight windows, which, I mean, at this point, isn't Dak constantly throwing into tight windows with this offense? For Jones, though, and the Giants offense as a whole, they just said throw the ball to Malik Neighbors. He had 12 catches for over 100 yards, and he was pretty much the reason that the Giants were able to keep drives alive consistently. With Dallas and their cornerback situation, they had injuries. Kalen Carson was out, and I can't lie, I got really nervous late in the game when Trayvon Diggs went out with dehydration, muscle cramps. I was freaking out. But before that, I thought that Diggs did a much better job covering Neighbors than anyone else Dallas had out there. He was following him around the field after a couple of big plays early in the game, so at least Dallas was able to recognize that they had to do something with Malik Neighbors, and without Kalen Carson, Diggs was just gonna have to follow him. There was no other option, or Neighbors was going to beat you by himself. That slowed the Giants offense down just enough. But what else slowed the Giants offense down was the Cowboys run defense, something that we have harped on over and over in these pre-game previews that I make. Tonight, the Giants had 1.1 yard per carry, and Dallas actually stepped up and stopped the run all night long. I thought that Mozzie Smith had the best game of his career. DeMarvion Overshown was flying around making plays. The tackling from that unit could have been better at times, especially on that Devin Singletary 4th and 1 run. That should have been a turnover on downs. Make the play. Maybe this run defense is something that we don't have to dread every single game. Maybe they've kind of gotten something figured out. Maybe everybody's bought into the idea of stopping the run. But I need to see it week over week to really get excited about them fixing that issue. Before we continue, I wanted to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, BetUS. Football, basketball, ice hockey, baseball, whatever you need, BetUS has you covered. My favorite part is that you can filter by props, conferences, divisions, playoff specials, anything that you want. It's right there at your fingertips. So head over to BetUS and get an awesome deal with the deposit bonus and start playing this Sunday. They have an awesome promotion right now where you get a 150% bonus on your first deposit and then 125% on your next 2. And if you win, they have you covered with fast and easy payout. Thank you so much to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back. For the Cowboys offense, I thought at least early in the game, the offensive plan was good enough. Rico was running well. It did seem like he was the running back 1 for a majority of the night. And then Ezekiel Elliott came in like the 4th quarter when the Cowboys were trying to bleed clock. But I thought Rico had a few nice runs. Cowboys run game seemed to be a little bit better. I also really liked their plan to get CeeDee Lamb the ball. Who would have thought that would actually work? Because when they were throwing him the ball in the first half, Dallas had 14 points. Later on in the game, they had 6 points. And the whole first half offense, second half offense is something they gotta figure out. Once they get out of those scripted plays, what they have installed in the offense, what they want to do early in the game, Mike McCarthy just kind of falls off with what he wants to do, what this team's identity is that's going to win games on offense. The second half offense just hasn't been good, and it wasn't good enough tonight. Luckily, the defense was able to get a couple stops, not let them score a touchdown, and you're not answering questions about why you only scored 6 points in the second half. Before we go, I do have some Micah Parsons injury news. Multiple reports say that Parsons seems to have avoided anything major. His brother also tweeted out, X-rays negative, MRI tomorrow, at worst a sprain. He'll play in 10 days. People were saying that Micah was up and moving around in the locker room, so with those 10 days of rest, before the Cowboys have to play in week 5 against the Steelers, Micah should be ready to go. And I don't really have to explain it to you guys, but that would have been the worst thing to happen to this Cowboys defense. You think it was bad with Micah? I promise you, you don't want to see it without him. So I'm not going to sit here and complain about a win. A win is a win. You're 2-2. You're 500. Cowboys are still in this thing. They still have time to figure things out. It wasn't pretty. Definitely wasn't consistent like we like to see. Wasn't a blowout like 49-17 that we've seen in years past, but it was a win after 2 really bad losses, and I guess I'll take that. We're going to go over the entire game later this week. Some nuggets, some things we've taken away. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That's all I got for you guys tonight. It is 101 here on the East Coast. I love you all. Go to bed. Thank you for staying up and watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.